This video, I was working with the Light Show Extender application and I ran into a bug. I was actually refactoring it in preparation for the Christmas Light Show season. If you're watching this after the fact, just know that it is currently November and I'm making final changes to the Light Show Extender application. One thing that I realized is that the application was set up, or at least I set it up in a way so that when the show starts up, that it turns on all of the WLED instances, and then when it shuts down, it turns all of those instances off. However, the problem was that, as you see here, I have a WLED handler that does an execute async, and it's inside of the shutdown, and then I have another one that's turn on WLED. And so what was happening was that request was running, but it was not actually turning on and off WLED. And so I was like, okay, something's weird. So I got to looking at things, making sure that the endpoint is correct. And it's making a call to the hostname /JSON /state. And then it's passing in a request object of JSON state. In that request object, you have two values. You have on, which is true or false, and then you have a brightness, which is a value between 0 and 255. I use AC lights in my Christmas light show, so I wanted to make sure that there is no confusion with the relay. So I set the brightness, or I've hard coded it to be 255. It can be overridden if necessary, but it's defaulting to 255. And so what I did was I ran that and I was like, okay, this is still not working. So I pulled up Postman. And as you see, I have the hostname /JSON /state, and it's making a post request. This is the JSON object. So what is actually originally what was happening, which I determined, was that the on value had a capital O and the brightness had a lowercase b. What would happen is, and let me pull up WLED. So right now you see WLED is actually off. This power icon is not lit up. And when I run this, even though it said the on is to false, which basically means not on or turned off, if I send this, WLED turns on, even though I give it a false value, and it succeeds in that regard. Now, in my opinion, this is not correct. Like if I tell it to turn off and it turns on, that's literally the opposite of what I wanted to do. But then I came over here and I changed my application code. So let me undo that, and I added the JSON property with lowercase o. And so to test this out, I did this and it succeeded. And if you will note, and I'll run it again this time, as you see, the power is still off. Now if I change this to true, the power turns on as expected. And then if I change it back to false, the power turns off as expected. So the issue is the capitalization of the on. And if I do, let's see what happens if I do that. Yeah, so even if the on is not all lowercase, this does some unexpected behavior. That being said, now that I've identified this bug and I'm able to reproduce it, I created or started creating an issue on the GitHub project for WLED. And so what I put in here is what happened, a clear, concise description. We're making a post request to the JSON that the lights actually turn on when they should not. And note that the on key has an uppercase O. And I probably need to amend this so that it also includes the all caps or all uppercase on as well. To reproduce the bug, I'm going to put a link to this video in the bug request so that they'll have a literal visual on how to reproduce this bug. The expected behavior. So in my opinion, there's one or two things that should happen. The light should power off regardless of what case this value is. So in my opinion, this should probably be converted to a lowercase, and then the key should be converted to a lowercase, and then the value taken into account to what to do. The second expectation is that if it cannot process uppercase, title case, naming, camel case, whatever the case may be, no pun intended, that the success should be false, and it should also return an error message of why it is failing instead of just turning on the lights even though I'm telling it to turn off. I installed this from the WLED website directly, like I used the browser add-on, and I'm currently running 0.13.3 for this issue that I'm reporting. Now this may be fixed in future versions, and if you're seeing this after the fact, just note it may be fixed by then. However, this is the version that I'm running. There is no log output that I think would be beneficial to this. In my opinion, if there is, I'll look a little bit further to see if there is, but it's literally not doing what I would expect it to do. And then there are no other references or anything else of that nature besides this video that I'm making that would assist in this regard. So what I'm going to do is to go ahead and publish this video, complete out this bug request, and then we'll see from there. I assume there'll be some comments on this, and at some point there will be a resolution to this. Now, I am not as proficient in C++ as I used to be way back when in my college days. That being said, I would go in here and try to figure out what may be wrong and how to fix it. But yeah, I think that'll be a little bit over my head. And so I decided, you know what, leave it to somebody else. I can still file this bug report and maybe tinker with it at a later time. But right now, I know I don't have the time to be able to commit to try to diagnose, but I at least want to report this problem. That being said, thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments or questions about WLED or how to file a bug report on this or any other project, feel free to drop a comment down below. If you are using WLED, I would also be curious in that and how you are using it. As I mentioned, I'm using WLED for the Christmas light show as a controller because getting Raspberry Pis for a controller, while they are great, they can be relatively expensive when compared to an ESP32 with WLED installed. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and follow. Check you out in the next video.